Welcome back for another episode from my Tesla Robotaxi video series. This is episode 9, where we go from HEB, or rather the PNC Bank across the street from it, which was the drop-off location from our previous video, and we are headed towards Terry Black's barbecue. It's only a 5-mile ride. That's what it ends up being. It should have been less, but you'll see kind of why it ends up becoming longer a little bit halfway through the video. Due to heavy traffic, it takes us about 27 minutes to complete this trip. So there is an intervention along the way. That's part of the reason why the mileage is actually a little higher than it should be. There's some interesting context there. It actually involves 3 robotaxis, one of which is a Waymo, and 2 Tesla robotaxis. So you'll definitely have to stick around and check that out later in the video. But without further ado, let's go for a drive here and see how the robotaxi handles all this traffic. As I mentioned, there is a ton of traffic at this point in the video, and actually throughout this entire ride. So we're trying to turn right. The traffic light's maybe 100 feet from where we're at, so we're really close to where cars start to queue up, meaning that intersection has to clear out before we can get in, and obviously there can't be cars coming from our left. So we do sit here for a little bit and wait for an opening. However, again, the car will make sure it doesn't go until it's absolutely safe to do so. You saw it inch forward there, but again, stop. Again, it wasn't jerky. And then you see it execute the right turn here without an issue. Pretty much as soon as we come onto the road here, we're going to come up on a city bus here that looks to be slowing down and or stopping. So the car then signals to get over to the left. And as soon as the traffic behind us that's fast approaching moves on, we are able to kind of sneak in behind them and then proceed forward. Here is another unprotected turn, this time going to the left. We do have some oncoming traffic that we have to yield for, but as you noticed, Robotaxi nicely slowed down while we wait, and then when it was safe to do so, didn't waste a second, and then completed the maneuver as it needed to. So the car has recognized there's a blockage up ahead. There's actually a tree truck in the right lane that's blocking the entire lane. The car already began to signal, and as soon as that car moved out of the way, it immediately executes a lane change to the left. One thing that's interesting here is the car picked up that blockage almost 100 yards away, and in my opinion, that's sooner than the publicly available version of FSD that's out today would react to a similar situation. So, this is yet another reason why I want this version of FSD in my car as soon as possible. It's got some really cool enhancements in there that we don't have in our build yet today. As we get closer to Terry Black's here, you're going to notice the traffic starts getting pretty horrible. It's LA level traffic here, it seems like, and this is where a majority of our time is spent, unfortunately. So I'll be fast forwarding through these parts for obvious reasons. So as we approach Terry Black's on the left, you're going to notice that there's a Tesla Robotaxi in front of us. and then in front of that, there's actually a Waymo. All three of these vehicles are going to be going into the Terry Black's parking lot, or try to anyways. However, that doesn't actually end up happening. So the Waymo is in the lead right now, and it actually puts the signal on, but is sticking out into the adjacent lane. And this is a characteristic of Waymo that I've seen time and time again. And it's just kind of funny to me that this service is supposed to be so mature, and yet it still makes basic mistakes like this and impedes, other traffic around them, which is not good. So basically, with the heavy traffic that exists, it looks like the Robotaxi in front of us put its flashers on, as in that's where it's going to pick its people up. So our car now threw its flashers on and says, all right, that's the end of the ride. And I'm guessing it did that because it thought the traffic around it was going so slow it was fine, and that it was faster than waiting to get in the parking lot. I wanted to see if the car would actually drive me into the parking lot still, even with this scenario. So I decided to wait. I wasn't in a rush to eat, so I kind of just wanted to wait and see. And just in a second here, you'll see the traffic clear out. The Waymo does wait a second, probably too long, but it still is able to make that turn before the next set of cars come. But the Robotaxi in front of us doesn't budge. And as a result, we have really nowhere we can go. We would have to pass it in the oncoming lane, which I would definitely not do, and that's not what we're going to do. So we just decided to wait a little bit longer. So as we're still waiting for this car in front of us to move, I'm watching now that Waymo try to make a left turn, and it's not going to be able to make that left turn now because the Robotaxi is still in front of us, is blocking his path, so he won't be able to actually move. As you can see the Waymo right there. But um, the folks actually getting into this car in front of us, this happens to be Joe Tegmeyer actually, um, they get in, and once they start their ride, they actually clear the path for us. So I want to see again if the car will automatically move on its own. So with the Robotaxi in front of us now out of the way, I decided to wait a little bit here to see if we will proceed forward and make that left turn into Terry Black's parking lot. And as you can see, the car still has the splashers on, still seems to think the ride is over. I wish there was a way for us, the riders, to say, no, I want you to continue to go to the pin drop location. So the safety observer hit the resume ride button, and immediately support called us.
Hey, it's stopping right here in the middle of the road. It won't turn into Black's Barbecue. Just kind of blocking up traffic right now. Okay.
So after support got on the phone there, they seem to have sent different navigation instructions to the car, right? The interesting part here, if you looked at the UI, FSD never disengages. So I don't believe anybody is remotely controlling the car. Now, obviously, they sent it and they intervened by sending it different instructions, but the car made that lane change back into traffic there and merged accordingly. And now it's going to try to go straight down the road for a bit, make a right turn, do a U-turn, and then come back to pull into Terry Black's parking lot, which it does successfully. Unfortunately, there's heavy traffic here that we have to be patient with. Heavy traffic, the car is able to make automatic lane changes really without problem. It's properly assertive here without being, you know, bullying to the other drivers around them, which I think is a great balance here. Unprotected right turn. We have traffic fast approaching from our left here. And the car does a great job of posturing where it needs to. And then as soon as there's an opening, it commits and goes for it. So again, this is part of basically rerouting to go back towards Terry Black. So it's got to make this right turn. And then we'll have to do a U-turn up ahead here. So as soon as we complete the merge, the car's got to make basically 2 lane changes and then essentially a 3rd lane change to get into the turn lane up ahead. And it does a great job of doing this in a pretty short time frame. Considering the heavy traffic, again, it had to be assertive here, but I didn't feel like it was too aggressive, but it got the job done in a nice and comfortable way. So as part of our planned maneuver, we have to make a U-turn here. This was the first U-turn that I got to experience in a Tesla Robotaxi. And as you can see, smooth and confident like most other maneuvers. And the car will then get back into the left lane here and prepare itself to turn left at this next intersection so we can go back to Terry Black's. Close to Terry Black's, I want to call it the Waymo that's in our rightmost lane up ahead. It's actually waiting to pick people up and completely stopped blocking traffic. For whatever reason, Waymos, when they come from this direction, will not turn right into the parking lot. Um, the Robotaxis will. We'll even do unprotected left turns as we should have had in the beginning of this ride. So, not sure why Waymos do that, but that's definitely not optimal. You'll also notice there's a Tesla that's manually driven up ahead that was trying to go in the exit and treat it as an entrance, which is another big no-no. But this parking lot's always crazy busy, and you always see really bad driving, honestly, coming into this lot. So this is a really big litmus test for any robo-taxi service. If they can handle this parking lot, I would think they could handle most any other challenging areas in the country. All right, and the Robotaxi detected this is a good stopping location for the ride, which matches my pin location. And this is where we actually get out of the vehicle and end our ride. So I hope you thought this was interesting. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.